All right, we're at the National Notary Association, and we have a convention, and we have a special guest, Tom Heymann, here with us, the president CEO of the National Notary Association. How are you doing today, Tom?
I'm doing great.
Good,
How
good.
about you, Daniel?
Doing very great. Having you as a special guest is just quite an honor. It's one of the things on my bucket list that I got.
Please.
And if I can just, for just a second, just go over some of your credentials. You're the President and Chief Executive Officer of the National Notary Association. Been there since 2012. You oversee the NNA's Service LLC, Trusted Notary Solutions for Employers, signingagent.com, real estate backgrounds. Excuse me, I can't even read my own writing. A number of events. You have over 40 years of experience in executive management. You served as president of at one time the Levy Restaurant and
Levy Restaurants, right?
and Maestro Restaurants, and you have your Bachelor's of Arts degree in economics from Northwestern University. Wow, what a resume! What a resume! And I just got to ask you a couple questions. I want to ask you because these are some questions that I get a lot from viewers or people that we have at notary meetups. I sponsor a lot of notary meetups. One of the first questions I want to ask you is a quote that you did in 2023. You said, because of the ability for artificial intelligence to create all kinds of shenanigans, the public is going to rely on notaries like they never have before. And I promise you, all your states that have been working to revise their legislative agendas and improve their notary laws are going to be right back at it, because the legislators are scared to death of artificial intelligence. But guess what? As notaries, you should not be. What did you mean by that?
Well, as I've said publicly here this week, notaries are more important than ever before.
Mm-hmm.
And the ability for artificial intelligence to recreate people, for instance, your very distinctive voice is going to be on YouTube.
Yep.
This presentation will be on YouTube. Artificial intelligence will be able to download this presentation and recreate your voice or my voice, and provide all kinds of, as I like to say, shenanigans.
Yeah,
with
shenanigans.
that,
Yeah.
right? So they could call my CFO and say, Rob, it's Tom. We need to wire some money over to XYZ Bank to make this first investment. Can you take care of that?
Yep.
And Rob, trusting that he heard my voice, may go ahead and do that.
Oh.
So there is no. That's just a very simple example as to where we are today. So the real question is, where are we going to be in 2 and 3 and 4 years? So the ability for shenanigans to occur is just beginning, and the projections that are out there for how much fraud is going to come into play because of artificial intelligence
Yep.
is such that notaries have to play that role, right? So that's really what I meant by all of that.
Okay. So what do you think your role is, or the role of the NNA, and what's the upcoming projects or initiatives you expect them to have in the future?
Well, one of the major roles of us is to help influence legislation throughout the country.
Okay.
And recently, we've been involved with our compatriots in the real estate industry, both with the Mortgage Association, Mortgage Bankers Association, the land title folks, the escrow and title folks.
Yep.
And we're all putting together a letter that we're going to be circulating to those in not just Washington, because everybody recognizes this is a state-based issue.
Okay.
But they want to sort of create the hubbub in D.C. And a briefing that basically says we're really concerned about the potential for deed fraud
Yes,
given the
yes.
use of artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
And so we've been working closely with all of them to sort of, start the groundswell of awareness around things that can be done. And I have to say, in working with all of these folks, they all acknowledge that the requirement of having a notary in person with I thought we had a quiet
Oh yeah,
chill area there.
yeah, it's great.
Great. Anyway, having a notary in person, to
Yep.
be there to validate that there's a real live person on the other end,
Yeah.
and validate, people always get confused, and I know that people who are listening to you are confused about this particular issue, but
Yeah.
aren't there ways that artificial intelligence or blockchain technology or all these things that are coming down the pike,
Yeah.
can they do a better job at identifying signers than have been identified in the past? And that is true. And we'll use notaries in the future will use AI technology for marketing their business.
Yep.
They'll probably use the AI technology to help identify people, during the process. But what artificial intelligence will never be able to do is to read the mind of a signer and know that they are aware of the documents that they're signing,
Yes.
that they do want to go through with this whole process, and so therefore that other element of, wait a second, we're not going forward with this I can't do this notarization with you today because I'm not sure that you're really well aware of what this is, or that you're of the right mind
Yes.
to be able to execute this document. So therefore, I'm stopping right now.
Or if they're being coerced in any way.
If they're being coerced in any way,
Yeah.
right? Exactly. And so artificial intelligence, maybe someday there'll be a robot out there instead of a notary, but
Yeah.
that's a very long way
Yes.
off. And I think just the in-person importance of the witness. I mean, I can tell you for sure in the real estate industry, they're not excited about anything other than in-person
Yes.
signings,
Yes.
right? Because if you bought a home recently or refinanced a home, the one thing you get from the title company is that big disclaimer: do not talk to anybody else about this.
Yes.
This will be the only place you'll hear a phone
Yeah.
call. We need to make sure that this person is in fact who they say they are. Right?
Yeah.
So with all of that, being the way it is, I think notaries are going to be more important than ever before.
So the trends, if I'm hearing this right, the trends you're seeing is going toward the artificial intelligence that's going to impact notaries in the future.
Certainly, I think that again, the part of it that'll be helpful, I believe, and this is just my personal opinion, Daniel. You're as versant on this as I am, but that having tools to help identify people is a really important thing.
Yeah.
Several years ago, if you remember, I can't remember which city we were in, but we had those experts come from LSU who talked about how good, how vigilant notaries have to be in identifying people.
Yeah.
Do they look at that driver's license? They make sure that it's genuine. I mean, that's the other thing that I didn't mention is just even the preparation, the ability for AI to create documents that are not real.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you can have, the driver's license recreated. You got passport recreated.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
challenges there were with that before, it's going away quickly.
What do you think the biggest challenges facing notaries today, and how is the NNA addressing them?
Well, around artificial intelligence, or just in general?
Just in general.
Just in general. Well, I think that the biggest challenges that facing the notary population today, and when we talk about that population, we look at the world as like in three different buckets. So we have professional notaries who are trying to make a living as a notary. They participate in signingagent.com. They have a background screen. They find a notary, and so there's that population, and they have certain issues that are just coming about because they're trying to either earn a living as a notary or as working on the side and earning just additional income. So their challenges are just the state of the business, the economy, right? With interest rates higher, with homes not being sold.
Yep.
You know, there's just a lack of demand for the refinancing piece of the business. So that's really put some pressure on them. But I think what it's done is that, there was a lot of enthusiasm in our session that I just left for around working with the state lawyers, which is not seasonal because if anything, if you think about it, I think you qualify as a baby boomer, but I'm not really sure.
I'm not sure. I think I'm right in there.
1961?
No, 63.
63. All right, so you're a baby boomer on the cusp.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Samantha's laughing at us.
Yes.
She's thinking how much younger she is than you and I.
Yes.
However, if you think about it, right, it's the largest cohort of folks.
Yep.
Right? They're healthier, wealthier, and everything about them, right? So if they haven't done their estate plan, they're going to have to do it.
Yes.
If they have to update their estate plan, which they should do on a regular basis anyway, you have grandkids and more grandkids and great grandkids. So if you think about a growth area, learning how to be a really good estate planning notary would be something that would be critical. Because again, that's just a big, that's a macro population boom experience, right? If they, however you want to measure it in terms of total numbers of documents that are created, there's going to be more documents created for estate plans in the next 20 years.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this: what are some of the significant achievements you've experienced as the president of the NNA since 2012? Since taking that, what are the things that you are most proud of as the president?
Probably that I'm being interviewed by Daniel on this podcast. We'll start from there. Probably the second thing is that I've become a grandpa times 3 over the last since 2012.
Nice.
No, Daniel, we were touching on this little conversation a little bit earlier. Really good notaries are of service to the people that they serve in the community around them.
Yes.
Right? And so if the notaries that we're serving are really focused around providing great service, right? Then you have to have an association that believes they need to be of service to the notary population, so that the notaries can be of service to their communities, right?
Yes.
So I think that with all of my vast experience, the one thing that I've done more so than really anything else is create a esprit de corps around the NNA that we're here to be of service, right? So we're not the big oracle of notarization, even though we do have a lot of competency in that regard, and everybody needs to come to us. We need to think of every day, how can we be of service to the notary population? And for me, when I get a chance to come to conference and I hear everybody telling me how wonderful all of our people are, and what a great experience it is to be here, and how they're so helpful and interested. I know that that's sort of reinforcing one of our core mission, right? And everybody who gets on the phone for us, we market ourselves either directly. You can send an application in, you can call us on the phone, or you can use the web, and more people are using the web than ever before. But whether it's the call center people who are helping someone become or renew their commission, whether it's the 15,000 phone calls that come into our hotline when people are asking a question about a notarization, or people calling up just to find out the status of their application or whatever. I talk to every single person who comes into our company, who talks to all of our customers, all of the people who interact with us. And I make sure they know that in my life around customer service, there's one thing that's really important. You, as a customer service person
Yeah.
can never, ever, ever get in trouble in our company for doing whatever it takes to make the customer happy, as long as after you do that,
Yeah.
you tell your supervisor what you just did.
Okay. Yeah, just making sure that you're taking care of that customer. Very good.
Correct, really. And, and again, we're dealing with, we have over 1 million people currently active on our database, and, having the organization of our size and the tools that we have as an organization. But at the end of the day, it's all about the folks.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe that more than you can ever imagine. So, if, for us to get up here and preach, it's really important for you to be a great customer,
Yeah.
a great member of your community. We have to walk the talk as well.
Yep. And I got a question for you, and this is more of a personal question of an observation I've seen. Been a notary since 2003, and I'm in Indiana. And when the mortgage industry went bust, a lot of notaries had to scramble, and I, in my state, lobbied to change notary laws change. So I had to talk to a lot of politicians, and got to talk with the governor at that time, and that was back in 2010. And recently, I was in a restaurant. Me and my wife and my sister-in-law went into a restaurant, had a meal, and the ex-governor was sitting there in the restaurant. When I got up, and he was there with his people, and they were talking. When I got up to leave, he looked up, he saw me, and he came darting across the room. Hey, Daniel, how you doing, man? I haven't seen you in a long time, man. How's that notary thing going? Because every time I talked to him, it was about a notary thing. When I started in 2003, talking to a politician about notary stuff, it's like, your fingernails on a chalkboard. But now, and it dawned on me at that point that we're reaching an age where notaries are more prominent with politicians. They're more. I spent just last night over an hour sitting down with a notary talking about legislation, how to get legislation passed. And back in 2003, all we talked about was, hey, how can I get on Facebook and make a Facebook page?
Right.
But now, do you think that, and even at the conference, you see a lot of notaries forming their own groups, brainstorming, masterminding. We're going on a mastermind cruise in Indiana. But do you see the notaries in the United States evolving into more of a, I don't know if it's mature or more politically or more of a serious manner? Do you see that?
Well, I think without question, notaries are becoming more politically active. I mean, you've seen the evolution yourself.
Yes, I'm seeing the evolution.
And I don't think there's any disagreement about that as a concept. And I think as the stakes have been raised, we talked quite a bit as Ron started to evolve.
Yep.
And a lot of people were like, well, is Ron going to, internally would say, oh, what's Ron going to mean to our business?
Yep.
For those of you who don't know, Ron is, of course, from Remote Online Notarization.
Yes.
We use a lot of acronyms.
Yes.
So I felt that this was going to be a great opportunity for the NNA to further probably one of the most important things that we do beyond our service commitment, and that is to strengthen notary laws around the country. Because what Ron provided was first, they can go on, whatever technology they're using, an iPhone and whatever, and complete a notarization. Well, we don't have that in our current laws, and what are those issues going to be if it does, right? So, there was a time where certain states started implementing, like for instance, Iowa has very specific programming around, both education and examination around becoming a remote online notarization, more rigorous than they have on their, in-person notarization, right? Yeah. And so the Ron activity caused, I think, and I don't have the data right in front of me, Daniel, but for 7 or 8 states, to reevaluate what they're doing from a training requirement perspective. And I think we're now offering over 35 different training programs in states throughout the country. And Indiana has one of the best programs that sort of evolved from that. And I know that you were very instrumental in helping get that, that legislation passed. And it was, I'm sure you felt the same way when you got into this notary business as well. Really obvious to me, both somebody who called on notaries, had notaries, not call on them, but had them come to me for notarizations, that without the training and the rigor that should go behind this, how's anybody supposed to know what they're supposed to do? And so I think that, like anything else, an exogenous influence came in, and it was called Ron, and that caused all these states to say, oh, wow, well, we don't, we need to, if we're going to let people do things online, we need to make sure they're trained. Oh, we don't need to train, we don't train them on how to become a basic notary, right? So I think, and then what's going to happen again is that AI is going to cause them to go back in and review all of those laws that they just passed, and think about how that's going to change, right? And all it takes is one constituent of one congressperson to have their home stolen, or have the financing, have a financing put out, or maybe they still own the home, but now there's a mortgage that was taken out on their home. And for that constituent to have a loud voice with that particular legislator, and next thing you know, they're looking at all of those different changes, right? And so I think that, when we look at the country, because, we do business in all 50 states, and we see the variability, and we see what we're doing, for example, with Indiana, we don't know why that's not the standard now for around the country, right? So, so I think that, absent this exogenous influence of, initially Ron and now AI, maybe we wouldn't be, you might be knocking on doors of legislators, but they might not be interested in talking to you, right? But, it doesn't matter where we go, and we've really worked this, Daniel. It's been a big priority of mine to put Bill Anderson, who's our VP of Legislative Affairs, on the road. Your group in Indiana, Maryland, you name it, going to NAS conferences, working with the Notary Public Administrators throughout the country. And then, when it happens, we try to make those resources available. A lot of people don't realize, why they're paying us all this money to become a renewer commission or become a member. A lot of it is because, we worked really hard with some legislators down in Florida this year, who were very interested in passing a journal bill. Didn't make it to the finish line, but I think it's probably going to be, that'll be a continuing discussion, and they weren't even thinking about AI, right? So, that's a lot of what we do, is we're here to strengthen the notary laws, which enhances everybody's opportunity, because the rising tides lift all boats. So the more we educate, the more we inform, the more stringent. I think that's better for the American public, and better certainly for the notaries.
What would you tell someone who's thinking about becoming a notary? What are some of the advantages to joining the NNA?
Well, I would tell them, first of all, to go to nna.org and click on Become a Notary. That's the very first step. And obviously the advantages of being part of the NNA and being a customer of ours is that, they'll learn really quickly that we are a one-stop shop no matter what state they're in, right? And we can simply and easily help them become a notary. We've got lots of information. More information than you can shake a stick at, and whether it's about becoming a notary, renewing your commission, details around, like, okay, so now I'm a notary, what do I do next, right? And we have those relationships. How do I find that Daniel Lewis is a mentor to help me learn how to become a better notary, right? How do, what is this conference thing? Oh, I get this bulletin each week, can I really just call the hotline? So, when you really think about the full suite of services that we provide them, I'd say, I think, we're a great place to start.
Yeah, it's just like you said, and that's the number one thing. I have free meetups, and people come and they say, "Hey, I want to become a notary," and just recommending your site is great because they can get their stamps, they can get their bonds, they can get their insurance. They have knowledge center. You can even see all the laws that are being or the bills that being proposed in their state. So it's just a tremendous site. What do you think? What does the NNA do for notaries that's been around for years? What would you say some of the advantages for a seasoned notary to belongs to the NNA?
Well, as we were just talking, the amount of newness that's being propagated, whether it's new training programs, new requirements, it's a changing profession as we sit here and
Yes.
speak. This whole conversation, I mean, think about it, right? You've been in the business for 10 years, but or longer, no,
Yeah.
14, 20,
21
years,
Yes.
right? And there's new stuff coming down. The conversation that we had on AI, this week's bulletin story, in
Yeah.
detail about AI, and then
Yes.
the continuation of that throughout the year. We're going to have a lot of conversation about that. So, we work really hard and to keep everybody current with new things.
Yeah.
We also, I mean, you can always teach an old dog new tricks, and we whether it's a new marketing
Yeah.
program or how to use. I mean, Vanessa Terry talking today about
Yep.
using AI to help build their business.
Yep.
Not a tool, not an artificial intelligence tool to help them be a better notary,
Yes.
but like how to use artificial intelligence to build their business easier, faster, better, right? So there's a lot of things that we can speak to the
Yeah.
veteran notary about, and again too,
Yeah.
be helpful in their community, because the veteran notaries are the ones who are talking to the legislators, developing those relationships with the governor, and so we're around
Yeah.
to be a resource for that. I mean, I'm sure in your own experience,
Yeah.
us as a resource has always been a fountain, probably like drinking out of a
Yes.
fire hose sometimes.
Yes, it's
right?
very, very good. So what do you see the role of notaries evolving in the next 5 to 10 years? How do you see that role evolving?
Well, it's an interesting question. Certainly, it starts with what's going to come from artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
Right. So, what tools are the notaries going to have available to them?
Okay.
And and how are they going to be able to use those tools? How are the states going to change their legislative agenda to address this? And how the role that notaries have today can be expanded even more, right? I really think if you said to me 10 years from now, are notaries utilizing iPads like escrow tab, for instance? And the elimination of paper, I would hope that would be the case, right?
Yeah.
But that still requires, a certificate of authority. It still requires a digital seal. It still
Yeah.
requires them to do everything they can possibly do. But I really see the in-person electronic notarization as something that will be kind of a standard for not just real estate closings, but for trusts and wills.
Using an iPad instead of the paper
correct.
and ink.
And
Okay.
what's coming with the iPads is just an amazing tool itself,
Yeah.
right? And then the development of applications that'll be deployed on those iPads. There's nothing.
Yeah.
If you're an attorney and you email someone your trust documents, or more importantly, if you ask your notary to take out that iPad and have a password into their system
Yeah.
that allows them to access those documents, and they remain in that system at all times,
Yeah.
other than the signature pages, and then the minute that their client signs those documents, they have control of them, right? I mean, that's the wave of the future.
Wow.
Yeah. Think about the advantages that everybody has. Notaries aren't printing documents. Law firms aren't printing documents and messaging them to
Wow.
messaging them.
Wow.
If they want to change them, they'll be able to change them on the fly. It's like, oh, we have page 6 here. All right, well, we didn't get to page 5. How we go in this particular document? what happens then? Change it right there.
Wow.
You text the
Yes, that is a huge advantage that everyone has. That's going from e-docs to from mailing documents to people to using FedEx, UPS, now going to e-docs.
Right.
So yes.
Yeah, and as a notary, you know, you have a busy day. Do you really want to be schlepping those paper documents around and have all that information on your individuals? If you know that, your job is to get out there and sign that tablet, and then immediately that information's in that law firm's hands. I know I would feel a lot better.
Yeah. Very good. Any final thing that you want to let our viewers know with their new notaries, seasoned notaries, that you want to let them know?
I think if they're taking the time to listen to your podcast each week, they obviously are doing it not for the entertainment value, but for the professional development that they're going to get. And so you can never have enough professional development.
Yes.
My advice to you would be to make sure you really have some people on who want to talk service.
Yes.
Because service is really important, and being of service to everybody else. It gives you an entree to talk about things that you're doing. It gives you an entree to to sort of extend that into the signing. And so I think that would probably be the last thing. Some people forget that part of what we do.
Yes.
So,
Yes, I see. I have a free meetup in my office every month, and I was just thinking about this whole thing. People that I invite is financial planners, lawyers, escrow officers, accountants, and I'm seeing the evolution there just for having meetups in my office of people, their mindset, they're thinking about their business a little differently. So I want to thank you so much for taking the time and coming on, and this has been great. So if you like the content, make sure you like and subscribe. Thanks so much, Tom, for being here again.
Daniel, anytime you want to have a particular topic you think I can be helpful, just
absolutely. We got to have you back on.
Oh,
absolutely.
Happy to do that.
Thanks.
Thank you. Yep. Bye now.